Hey, what's up, church? And welcome back to the series taking a look at the spiritual gifts. This is week 4, and we are taking a look at the spiritual gift of faith. And so this isn't just faith in general, but the specific supernatural gift of faith that we see described in 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 9. It says this: a manifestation of the Spirit is given to each person for the common good. To one is given a message of wisdom through the Spirit, to another a message of knowledge by the same Spirit, to another faith by the same Spirit. We see faith listed here as a gift of the Holy Spirit. Now, this is different than saving faith, which is the faith by which through you were saved, you were justified. This is also different than kind of a continuing faith, you could call it. Which would be how we are just continually needing to trust in God in all circumstances in our life. But the gift of faith, this gift, it's a manifestation of the Holy Spirit in someone. It is a supernatural impartation of belief and confidence for a specific situation. I'll say that again. The gift of faith is a supernatural impartation of belief and confidence for a specific situation. I want to sit with that for a moment. This is a supernatural gift of the Holy Spirit. So it's not just something that you work up in yourself. It's a moment where the Holy Spirit enables you to believe in God for something beyond your natural ability to trust. It's not just being a very optimistic person. It's not having a general upbeat attitude. It is a Spirit-given certainty that God will act often in impossible circumstances for his purposes. Because this is something that you cannot generate in yourself of your own ability, it means that even if you're someone who struggles to have faith in hard times, even if you're a generally fearful person or pessimistic person, God can give you the gift of faith. And to illustrate what this gift might look like, I want to give some examples. One of my favorite Bible stories, 1 Kings 18. You have the prophet Elijah versus 450 prophets of Baal. And both, what they're doing is they're kind of setting up an altar, a sacrifice to their gods, the Baal or the true God of Israel. And so they set up some wood, they cut up a bowl and put it on top of all this. But they don't set fire to it. And Elijah says, "You call on the name of your God, Baal. I'll call on the name of the Lord, the God who answers by fire is the true God." So the prophets of Baal, they start shouting and dancing, and hours go by. Eventually they're cutting themselves, harming themselves, their blood is flowing, and still nothing happens. Their altar does not catch on fire. But then Elijah prepares the altar, and he has the people come and they pour on a bunch of water 3 times. He says, "Hey, fill up these jugs, pour water on it." Okay, do it a second time. Okay, do it a third time. So this wood is drenched. And I am not a scientist. I am not smart, but I'm pretty certain that water does not burst into flames. You cannot catch something that is wet on fire. But Elijah does this, and he is so confident. He has so much faith. He prays to God, "Let it be known today that you are God and that I am your servant." And then suddenly fire fell and burned up the sacrifices that had just been drenched with water. And all of the people, they fell, crying out, "The Lord is God. The Lord is God." Right? That is a display of incredible faith. Elijah had so much faith that God was going to light this on fire that he drenched it in water 3 times. But now a personal example, and whether this was God manifesting the spiritual gift of faith in me, or if this is me just being overly optimistic and dumb, I don't know. But there was a time where at my last church, I was the associate pastor, and finances were not looking very good. And, we were in the red and continually just hemorrhaging money. So the leadership, the elders, they're like, "Okay, we have to make cuts, and the only place we can cut is staff." And so I'm looking around, and there's 2 full-time staff members. There's the lead pastor, and there's myself. So obviously, I'm like, okay, if anyone's getting cut, it's me. For whatever reason, though, I wasn't worried. I just felt like however it was going to happen. I didn't know how, but I just felt God was going to come through. I don't know how. Wouldn't you know it, though? Time approaches, getting closer to our annual business meeting. Within a few weeks of that meeting, this trust that a former member that had passed away and had given to the church, and the interest would go to the church for the sake of furthering the ministry. Well, the trust just exploded financially, going from like $300,000 to $800,000. And so as a result, the church no longer had to make any staff cuts. I didn't know that was going to happen, but I just felt, I believed that God, some way, somehow, was going to come through, and he did. You may not have the gift of faith, may not have it all the time, but you do have the Holy Spirit who can give you faith and assurance in a time when you need it. In moments of crisis, ask God to fill you with his faith for whatever situation you find yourself in. Anyways, that wraps up today's lesson. I hope that it was a blessing to you, and my prayer is that regardless of whatever situation you find yourself in, that you would continually lean into the Holy Spirit and ask him for faith and assurance and help in any situation that you find yourself in. All right. See you later. Have a good one.